Welcome to another edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host today. We're honored once again to have Alex Lawson. Alex Lawson is the Executive Director of Social Security Works, the convening member of the Strengthened Social Security Coalition, and coalition made up of over 340 national and state organizations representing over 50 million Americans. The reason I wanted to get in touch with Alex as soon as possible is because of what we're seeing occurring in real time to Social Security via Doge and all the other machinations being done by the current Republican Congress. Alex, it's a pleasure to have you on Politics Done Right today. How are you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me. Love your program. Can't wait to dig into it.
Well, look, first of all, lay the script for me. First of all, when we spoke at Netroots Nation, we were hoping that we would have had a different outcome, but we were not so lucky. And for all those who thought that maybe Social Security was safe, maybe Medicaid was safe because these are programs that affect so many people. We've seen a wrecking ball take place that are using all kinds of machinations to get around it. So lay the case for me right now.
Yeah, it's a multi-pronged assault on all of us, but it's also really simple. It's literally the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, and his billionaire buddies reaching their hands into our pockets and stealing our money, our health care. On Social Security, Elon Musk's Doge effort, they've already put in place devastating cuts that the former commissioner of Social Security, so it's not me, it's the former Senate confirmed commissioner of Social Security, said that will lead to system collapse in 30 to 90 days. That's what they've already done. And they've said they're not done yet. So these cuts are devastating. And that's not what they might do in the future. That's what they're doing right now. Your benefits are at risk. If you need to get in touch with the agency, you're not going to be able to. They want to make it just like, Facebook or one of these Silicon Valley companies where when you try to call them, you don't get a human being. You get no help at all. That's what they're doing to Social Security. It's a wrecking ball that has already crashed through the middle of the agency. Now, that's not the end, though. That's not the end. What you saw last night is the President Trump, this guy took the most brazen lies that Elon Musk has been selling, the ones that are most easy to disprove. And that's important. It's a trick of the tyrants. They want to push the biggest lie possible. There's nobody who's 200 years old getting benefits from Social Security. That's absolute garbage. It's totally and utterly false. But what he's doing is he's just trying to put out there this misinformation, this fraud idea. So just a quick fact, at 115, benefits are automatically stopped when a person hits the age of 115. There's not many people who reach that age, but there are some. And they actually have to go and prove to the agency that they're still alive to get their benefits turned back on. Most of everything that Donald Trump said is actually just based on Elon Musk and his little stooges not being smart enough to talk to people who understand the system that Social Security has in place. There is a vanishingly small amount of improper payments in Social Security. It is a rounding error. And yet the inspector generals have put out report after report detailing this is actually how you fix these improper payments. Most of it has to do with having enough people working in the system that they can update the file. But there's not millions of people getting fraudulent payments. That's just not what's happening. You have a tiny amount of people who are receiving improper payments. Sometimes it's too much. Sometimes it's too little. But the idea that this system is rife with fraud, the private sector is absolutely, they would kill. They would kill to have the rates that Social Security does. It's an incredibly well-run agency that has incredibly low amounts of fraud. But I have to actually say it did, and it was, because now I don't know. They fired everyone in charge of ensuring that payments are proper, that the data is upgraded. They got rid of all of them. And now the president is out there saying there's all this fraud. He's coming for your benefits, people. He's closing your office next. They've already closed 45 offices. Yours is next. They told the GSA, which is basically the federal government's landlord, to cancel all of the government leases. That's 1,500 Social Security offices, your local office. You're not going to be able to call the 800 number right now. You should try and see how long the wait time is now, because they fired everybody. And now they're going to close your office so you can't go to the office. What's next? What's next is they're going to reach their hand directly into your pocket and take your benefits. Your check will not reach your bank account because it's going into Elon Musk's bank account instead.
You know, people thought that this was just hyperbole, but now we actually have examples of this happening. In fact, I saw one agent said, if you know what's good for you right now, if you don't have that piece of paper that they send you every year telling you how much you've worked, go ahead to the Social Security website and download your information so that you have evidence of what is occurring. But I know your main concentration is on Social Security, but I think what the administration is trying to do also is obfuscate Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare together so that it looks like one huge entitlement gone awry. Why don't you tell us a little bit of what they're trying to do there?
Yeah, so we focus on all of them because as a system, you need all the pieces of it. Medicaid is the largest provider of long-term care in this country. Medicaid serves seniors, children, people with disabilities. Over half of every person in a nursing home is there through Medicaid. You get rid of Medicaid, which is what the Republicans are proposing. They're proposing. They are like, oh yeah, we're not doing it. We promise. It's written down $800 billion, $880 billion in the committee that oversees Medicaid. They instructed them find $880 billion in cuts to Medicaid. That's in the reconciliation process, which is the longer term threat. And in that case, that destroys Medicaid. So you're exactly right. What they're trying to do is just paint this picture of these systems that they are, rife with fraud. There's all this waste and abuse. There is waste, fraud, and abuse in every system. That's true. And if you want to root it out, you have inspector generals who look at that specifically to minimize it. The first thing the administration did is fired all the inspector generals. That's not what you do if you want to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. That's what you do if you want to do fraud. That's what they're doing. And so what we have here is an attack on all of us so that Elon Musk and his billionaire buddies can get an enormous tax handout. They're just robbing Peter to pay Elon, to quote a great leader of today. And that it's as simple as that. So they're coming after your Social Security. Your office is closing next. I want you to know that, right? It's not happening to someone else. It's happening to you. And if you don't wake up and fight back now, it is going to get worse. So we have to raise our voices right now. And I do think that they fully misunderstand how important Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid are to the American people and the ferocity with which the American people will fight back because it's ours. We pay for it. We earn it. And if we let some politician in DC reach their hand in our pocket and steal it for Elon Musk, I don't think so.
One of the reasons I think we're having a few problems and issues communicating with people is that while you are a truth teller and you are pointing out evidence as to what exactly is happening, too many people will just hear the president at face value say, I am going to save Social Security, or hear Johnson, the Speaker of the House, say, I am going to save these programs for you, while at the other hand, trying to create under reconciliation. First of all, I better explain one thing real quickly. There are two ways to take care of this: through reconciliation or through the normal budgetary process. Reconciliation means they can do it with all Republicans, which means if Republicans decide that they are all going to team up together, there's nothing Democrats can do to stop it. However, as Alex pointed out, definitively, you still have power, because every single one of those Republican representatives, they want to be reelected. They want to be back in office. So the reality is you've got a month or two to let these guys know that you won't take it. Alex, what can they do? What can these people that are going to be affected do?
We gotta show up. So if you go to socialsecurityworks.org, you can get involved. You can join with us so that you're up to date. But we got to move it beyond the computer screen. We got to show up at your Social Security office. We'll help you organize the events. We've got dozens of these going on around the country. We need people to stand up right now. We need them to call their members of Congress, yes, but we need them to do more. But specifically on members of Congress, there's 17 frontline House Republicans who have won their districts by fewer votes than the people who will lose health care if budget reconciliation goes through, right? 17 frontline members. Take Iowa's 1st District, Representative Miller Meeks. She won by 700 votes. 700 votes. And if she gets her way, tens of thousands of her constituents will lose their health care. And we have a spreadsheet online. You can find us on social media, Social Security Works. So you have all the data, plus their phone numbers. Call them. You know, right now they're more scared of billionaire, unelected king, unelected bureaucrat, Elon Musk, than they are of their own constituents. We have to flip that. They have to be scared of their constituents. A very wise man once told me that at the end of the day, politicians really only care about one election, their own. And that's what we have to remind them of, that, you know, when they're under the spellbinding, Elon Musk created safety blanket, it might seem like they're going to get away with it. They're not going to get away with it. They're going to lose their jobs. And the thing is, and you pointed this out, the margins in the House are so narrow. They can only lose one right now. And by the time reconciliation is going, they can lose 3. There's 17 of them who are going to lose their job 100%. And they know it. That's why when they're selling this stuff, they lie, right? They go on TV and they're like, no, I'm not, there's no Medicaid cuts in there. And the problem is the corporate media is like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. And you're like, what do you mean? Did you not get the document? It's right there. You can read it. $880 billion. So we can't trust. There's a couple things. The corporate media is, all speed ahead to make this happen. We can't trust politicians either. Politicians aren't going to save us. There's no cavalry coming, but we have to push the politicians because we're the cavalry. The bravery comes from us. It comes from everyday people standing up and saying no to this authoritarian takeover by an unelected billionaire bureaucrat. Once we show the bravery, then the politicians are going to join us. That's the order of operations. So first, we get organized, we get in the streets, we raise our voices, and we say, no, you're not going to steal our Social Security. No, you're not going to close my Social Security office. No, you're not going to take away my or my family's Medicaid and throw my loved one out of the nursing home that they need. That's where power comes from. Millions of people standing up together and saying, no, you're not going to get away with this.
A message to our MAGA brothers and sisters. In the aggregate, more of you are dependent on Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare than the population at large. Numbers are out there. And it's also important for us to understand that the billionaires, the only reason they have power is that money buys your vote. You have to decide if your vote can be paid for with dollars and lies. It is up to us, as Alex said. Alex, give me a closer.
So I know it's dark times, and it feels like this is an unstoppable force that we're up against. It's eminently stoppable. These are not like superhuman. They've got all their stuff together. They're tripping over their own feet every day. Every day, they're tripping over their own feet. You should read how impossible the pretzel is between the Senate and the House to get anything done. They don't agree with each other at all. In fact, in the House alone, they don't have a unified caucus. They hate themselves most of all. What we have to do is stand united and remember that there's tens of millions of us and that we have the power. These bumbling billionaire funded politicians and these unelected billionaire bureaucrats who are trying to steal our money, they're just trying to overwhelm us. So let's not get overwhelmed. Let's be methodical. Don't ever let them steal your joy either. We have to stay in this fight. It's not a sprint, nor is it a marathon. It's actually a relay race. So you do your part when you can, you take your rests when you need it, and you never, ever think that you're alone in this fight. Get organized, stand together with your neighbors, shoulder to shoulder with our voices raised. We cannot be defeated.
Social Security Works has some help. Tell us about how we can get to your organization to help ourselves.
Yeah, if you go to socialsecurityworks.org, that's our website. On all social media, I prefer Blue Sky. It's just Social Security Works. You can find us there. We've got seniors councils in 40 of the states. These are our super activists who meet in person and by Zoom. So there's just a whole series of ways that you can get involved with us. But it just starts by either going to our website, signing a petition. Now you're going to get emails from us. You don't have to read them all, but if you do, you're going to be up to the date, informed as to what's going on. It's also when we put out facts, when we put out information, spread that information around, print it out. Print out the office closings, print out the $880 billion, hand it to somebody. Maybe somebody who voted for Donald Trump, but they voted because they thought he was going to bring down the price of eggs, when in fact the price of eggs is skyrocketing, right? And the tariffs are going to just make it worse. But nobody voted. Nobody voted to destroy Social Security. Nobody voted to destroy Medicare. Nobody voted to destroy Medicaid. So we just have to get the information out there, and you can do that starting by going to socialsecurityworks.org.
Alex Lawson, Executive Director of Social Security Works. Thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right.
Thanks so much.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.